If we treated all the parts of ourselves that were bad, if we treated them like friends that just might need a little extra help, I think we'd be a lot happier as a society.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Therapy Unmasked, brought to you by The Village Behind the Mask, as well as Ability Innovations and Children in Motion here in Utah. As always, I'm joined by Nick.
Hey, guys.
So today we wanted to do kind of a little bit of a different episode, mostly focused on how we celebrate success.
Yeah.
And what does success look like for kids with autism and disabilities? And the reason we wanted to talk about this is because we have the upcoming All Abilities Fair that's happening September 12th from 12 to 4 p.m. at our Layton location. I'll put all the details to that fair in the show notes below, but it's going to be a blast. We have a bounce house, a talent show, which we'll probably touch on a little bit later, an art gallery. We're going to have free food, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. And the whole reason that fair exists is to celebrate these kids and their unique abilities that they have. So I just wanted to kind of like shift gears and turn it to Nick, because Nick is actually an occupational therapist here that works with kids and is uniquely qualified to share how he celebrates their abilities.
I think from the very beginning, we started like making everything superhero themed. And there's reasons behind all of that, but it makes it kind of fun because when we talk about kids like getting new abilities, we talk about like superpowers and getting new superpowers and being able to expand their superpower repertoire, if you will. And so it's kind of fun. We celebrate those things here at the clinic, and we've always kind of talked about them as being like these new superpowers that they gain. So it's pretty cool. And the All Abilities Fair is kind of neat too, because it's like, it gives them, kind of a stage, metaphorically, but also we'll probably have like a little talent show area there where they can perform or do some of the things that they've learned. And it doesn't have to be things that they've learned at the clinic. It can be things that they've learned other places, and be able to kind of show that to everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I remember like last year we had a kid he did like a karate act because he was doing karate. And he wanted to showcase that ability. We had a kid do like stand-up comedy. It was really cute. We had a lot of dances, like a lot of kids dancing.
Even a break dancer.
Yeah, a break dancer. That was pretty cool. Nick's daughters even sang a song. So like there's a lot of singing and music. And I love the fair because it just shows like how different all of these kids are. But also at the end of the day, they all just have talents and they want to be seen and they want to be heard. At Ability Innovations and Children in Motion and The Village Behind the Mask, that's like one of our goals, is to try and help these kids be seen and be heard and help them.
We really want kids to be reaching milestones and progressing in life, because that's what helps them to be more productive members of society, that they can really show what they have to offer. And the unique thing about what we do here is our view on these kids is that they all have a superpower. And when they're able to show that, when they're able to show what their gift to the world is, it makes the world a better place. Because, if you can operate within the world, even though you might think a little bit differently or move a little bit differently or see things and understand things a little bit differently than most, what you do have to offer is usually pretty big. And we've seen that with all kinds of people in our country and across the world, that it's the people that think differently and that do things differently, that they often have a different perspective. And when they're able to share that, that's what we want to champion, because that's what changes our world for the best.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Well, Nick, do you have any examples of like sessions that you've done at clinics and how you were able to incorporate kids' abilities or kind of showcase that a little bit?
I really love watching kids when, if it's like a motor skill that they're working on, when all of a sudden they're just able to do it. Like I've got some kids that, maybe they're working on just being able to, do like an animal walk where they're on their hands and their knees and they're able to hold themselves up off of the ground. They're using their core and maybe the last week they weren't able to do it, or they only did it for like 1 or 2 seconds. And then all of a sudden that increases to 3 or 4 seconds, and then 5 to 6, and then 10 seconds. And I love watching that progress because I can tell that they're getting stronger. When they are stronger inwardly, then they're able to do more things outwardly with their hands and their feet. They're able to balance more. It makes them safer. I've also watched several kids that, these might not be my particular goals, but they're speech goals. And they're really working on being connected with me and doing things in a connected way with me. And part of that is speech too, that they're able to talk. And when I can go to the speech therapist and say, hey, Jimmy said this in our session and he didn't even struggle with it. It just came right out. Mm-hmm. They're excited for speech, but also I'm excited because I was part of that too. And they're able to now communicate back and forth with me during a session. Mm-hmm. And that's, for me, it's a social skill. For speech, it might be a communication goal that they had, but it's neat to be part of a group that's working on something. So I see lots of different stories each and every day, and I'm able to celebrate some of those with parents saying like, oh, today they were able to do this and they weren't able to do that before. And then sometimes the parents come to me and they're like, Nick, or they're sending me a text sometimes, and they're like, Nick, you've got to check this out. Look what they totally did. Look what she was able to do now. And they know that we've been working on that. I still have parents from like years ago that are still texting me and saying, hey, my little girl is still able to do this. And here's her new stuff that she's able to do. And I think it's so cool.
And those are kids you don't even see anymore.
I don't even see them anymore. It's been a few years.
But you made that connection.
But yeah, and they're like, all right, see if you can do it on camera for Mr. Nick, because he still loves that.
That's awesome.
And it's cool. Those little wins, even if they're little, they mean the world to me. And I know they mean the world to the parents and that kid, but it shows progress and growth. And that's the best part of what we do.
I mean, that's all you can really hope for, really, in that position, is seeing that.
And, sometimes progress is slower with some of our kids that we work with, but still progress is progress.
Yeah, it is.
And it's great to see even tiny little increments, even if they fall back a little bit afterwards and then they're able to do it again. It's really neat to see.
Yeah. One thing that we do, especially at Ability Innovations, is when kids graduate or move on from like their therapy services, we want it to feel very special for them. Like they've made a huge accomplishment in their life, because they have. So we'll get confetti. We'll get like a little prize. We'll get them a little certificate, that we print out, and they can sign it, and we'll throw confetti on them, and we'll all cheer.
We're like 1, 2, 3, and confetti goes over, and the kids are just beaming.
Yeah, the kids love it, and it's just so cool. So I think even recognizing the abilities that kids have, but also just like celebrating it in like just the most celebratory fashion possible. I know there's a coda that worked at Ogden. Her name was Shawnee, and she would bake cakes for kids, like when they would hit huge milestones. And it just meant so much to these kids, like that their therapists cared, that their parents cared, that the people around them cared about what they were doing.
And it was really cool because they got to pick like what kind of cake it was and what kind of decorations or designs or what it looked like. And they got really excited about that. So she would start talking about that when they got close. And then she's like, okay, if you do this, I'll bake you a cake. And so then they were like super motivated. But yeah, it was, satisfaction too, that they got to meet this milestone.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. One other thing I have noticed too is there's sometimes like where kids don't like all that attention, right? So what are like some things you could do for a child that maybe is a little embarrassed or doesn't like getting a ton of attention?
I've had several kids that they don't like it when people are clapping or singing. That really kind of bothers them. But sometimes it's just recognition, like putting a hand on their shoulder saying, good job, or I really like how you did that. Good job. Sometimes just that. They may not react to it, but that inside they're making note of those things. Everybody wants to feel like they're pleasing the people around them. They're doing a good job. some kids, it's just at a girl or at a boy,
Mhm.
and just in passing. I think it parents, for example, with potty training kinds of things, that's the thing that really helps with hard things that you're training kids on. So like potty training, if there's a positive response to it, then your brain goes, oh, I want to do that.
Mhm.
So even if they had an accident right before, but they were able to go to the bathroom in the toilet, then you're like, yay, you did it. Even just that. And they're like, oh, their brain goes, bing, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want that recognition. And as adults, we get that at work and we feel great. If somebody just sends us a text and says, good job today, it makes us feel good. And I think everybody is seeking that in some way or form.
At the All Abilities Fair, we also do an art gallery for kids that are maybe a little bit more shy and don't want to perform, where they can just submit small art projects or like photos or videos or something that they've been working on or doing. And that can also be a great way for kids to feel like they're sharing something they're doing, but not going
Have to be
outside of their comfort
in the
zone.
limelight.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you have thoughts on like that whole like displaying things? Like, does that feel good? I know we have boards at each of our clinic that say like, this is my superpower, and kids can go up and pin art on it or anything that they work on. Like, what are your thoughts on that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's just another form of recognition. And it also shows that these kids are able to demonstrate some of their abilities through some kind of visual media. And I know that we will make like a craft with a kid and we'll ask them, do you want to take this home or do you want to put it up on the wall? And they're like, oh, I can put it on the wall. Yeah. And you can show everybody. And sometimes kids are really driven by that. So it's just finding out what is really motivating to that kid. And for a lot of kids, I mean, my refrigerator at home is full of little stuff that my kids have made. And, and they like to display that, and then they get to keep some of it. They'll file it away in some box or something. So even just things like that, if they are able to demonstrate something, maybe it's a craft, maybe it's a picture that they drew, and they can just put that up. I think that's a really helpful thing for kids too, because for a lot of kids, something visual, it means something like it's very demonstrative of what they can do, but they don't have to be the one that's like showing it off to everybody, because maybe they're more shy or maybe they just are more timid about being in front of people. I know that like kids with autism, for example, they don't always like looking people in the eye. They don't like being in front of people and having to watch all those social cues. That can be really overwhelming. But if they can put a picture up and everybody says, wow, good job, James, and they can hear that, then they're just as happy as if they were, holding it up in front of people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's awesome.
We try and make, like at the Abilities Fair, we try and make it so that kids of all different abilities and all different levels can be appreciated and show what they're able to do without having any of the restrictions that, being in front of people might build inside of them or anything like that.
Yeah, it really is such a cool experience. So when you celebrate kids' success, like as an occupational therapist, and I guess this even applies to our speech and PT therapists, is the success you're celebrating, is it goal driven, or is it just every little thing that they're doing we have to celebrate? Like where's the line for that?
Yeah, well, and part of our process as therapists is writing goals. And the goals themselves are just ways to kind of track progress, but any progress is progress, like I've been saying. And sometimes we're celebrating things that are part of a goal they've mastered, or sometimes it really is like, hey, this goal talks about doing this and they're able to do it just like the goal says. They've mastered that goal and we're celebrating that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be necessarily goal driven. It can be skill driven.
Yeah.
So the skills that build up to that goal, it can be things that they've created. It can be things that they've just demonstrated. And like I said, sometimes the parents are coming to me and showing me videos from home to show that, hey, they are really meeting some of these skill levels and these goals. they're meeting these milestones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So sometimes kids, they'll see like other kids being celebrated, and maybe there might be a sense of jealousy or like frustration because they feel like, well, that kid's finishing therapy. How come I can't? Like, why am I still here? For some kids, that doesn't matter because they love coming every week anyway.
Yeah.
And they don't even know they're doing therapy half the time. But how do therapists like reassure kids? Maybe I guess this is for older kids too. Like, how do we reassure them that you're still making progress, even though it might be a little bit slower than what you want?
I think one of the best ways is just to share praise, because if you're praising a child and it's realistic praise, it's not like, you are so cute, good job. You know, we don't want kids growing up thinking that I have to be cute to be able to attain things. So if you're giving realistic praise, like, when you did this, I noticed that you were working really hard. And that's what we like to see. It can be something that you're naming specifically. And if parents are doing that at home, if therapists are doing more of that, anytime that you praise a child, you're helping them. You're showing them that they can build themselves and become something a little bit more. And that's what we all want as humans, is to keep working on ourselves and keep becoming something a little bit better each and every day. And so praise is part of that. It can be the smallest form of recognition, but at the same time, it can mean the most.
Mm-hmm. How do we incorporate like constructive criticism without like hurting these kids' feelings? Because sometimes, like, I know I've seen our physical therapists do this a lot, where a kid is doing an activity, but they're not doing it in the way that could most benefit them. So that behavior needs to be corrected. And they do a really good job at doing it. So what are some tips for parents? Like, if your child is, I don't know, for example, toe walking, and they're doing an activity, and the activity they're doing is good, but they're doing it while toe walking, how do we correct that behavior so they still feel good about the activities they're doing, but we're fixing that little thing?
And that's the thing. They may not even recognize that they're doing the toe walking. It might be so like just unconscious that they're doing it. And there's a lot of psychology about this, but at the same time, the way that I see most therapists doing it is saying, hey, I've noticed that you're still up on your toes. Can you put your heels down? And just something like that, and keep going. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing like, hey, put your toes down or your heels down. It doesn't have to be something that's punitive or that you're getting after them with. It's just a gentle reminder, or just saying like, I love how you did this. Can we try it again with your heels down? Yeah. And sometimes it's just like, we're just going to change this tiny little piece and do it again. And when it's softer like that, the kids respond better.
I will see like some therapists work with kids who have cerebral palsy, where they don't have as much control of one side of their body. And so the kid will do an activity with their good arm, and the therapist will be like, that is so awesome. You did such a good job. Let's try it with your other arm now and see like what we can do. So like they're still raising them up, but they're also encouraging like, let's try the other way.
One of the things that I love with that is I've had several kids that they name that affected arm, and it has like a certain name. Like, let's say it's Benji. Like, okay, all right, now let's see if Benji can do it. And so they treat that arm like it's a friend. And I love that. I love seeing that, you know, they're like, hey, we know it's going to be hard for Benji, but let's see if Benji can do it. And they're supporting Benji, and the kid themselves is like giving support and giving like friendship to Benji to keep them going. And then it doesn't seem like such a hard thing. It's not part of them that they're deficient. It's that they are actually helping a part of themselves. They're facilitating the part that is struggling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we want to be with kids. I love that part of it where they name their affected arm or their affected leg.
Yeah. Kids are funny. I love kids.
I've even got a kid right now that he's named his wheelchair.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
what's the name?
The name is Kevin. So if they're listening to this, they'll know who I'm talking about. But they're like, oh, I didn't hit that. Kevin did. I'm like, yeah. We need to punish Kevin. Poor Kevin. He ran into the wall. But I think that that's fun too, because then it doesn't seem like it's deficient or a bad part of them. It's just another friend that's with them.
Yeah.
If we treated all the parts of ourselves that were bad, if we treated them like friends that just might need a little extra help, I think we'd be a lot happier as a society.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's so funny. I've never thought about that before, but that's awesome. So Nick, as you've worked with ability innovations and children in motion, and this year you've had a huge emphasis on the nonprofit, the Village Behind the Mask. How do you create a community and a culture of building kids up, celebrating success, and inspiring kids to reach their goals and milestones?
For me, it's been, starting with myself, start seeing people as people, and then encouraging that amongst the people that I work with. One of the best things that happens at Ability Innovations, and I think should happen everywhere, is that interdisciplinary mindset that we have here at Ability Innovations, where we're not just professionals that are working alongside each other. We're professionals that are all working for that one particular child. And so interdisciplinary means that we're blended. We're not just multidisciplinary where we're working side by side. And so that mindset, I think, has carried over. And when I go into a lot of clinics, I see segregation. And when you come into our clinic, we're all working in the same areas. We all gather together in the same areas when we have services or trainings, in services or trainings, or we're just writing notes. We're all in the same room and we're talking amongst ourselves and we're all friends. Some of my best friends are not occupational therapists, and it's great because I would hang out with those people every day.
Mhm.
And that's what we want is, we've got a lot of segregation just in society in general, but I think that the more that we can create a cohesive unit and a village, which is why we started the Village Behind the Mask. That's why we started that. It's because we want to create this connectedness between all of the different groups that are supporting that child.
Mm-hmm. And it really did. It started as just OT and PT and SLP, but now it's become so much more. We have like ABA therapists that like talk with the therapists that are here. Like a kid will be having occupational therapy and they'll have ABA, and then maybe they go to a chiropractor as well, and all of that stuff is like a part of that kid's village. And we just want to make it as seamless and as easy, not only for the kid, but for the parent, because it's stressful to have to deal with all these different things that their child needs.
Right. And wouldn't it be great if all of the doctors, all of the insurance companies, the school district, everybody was communicating back and forth together about that child? There would be so much more that's happening. And that's kind of our focus for everything that we do. We want people to be connected and to be building together, not just for that child, but even just ourselves.
Yeah. And I mean, we make certain partnerships like the Utah Parent Center is a great resource to be able to get integrated in the school district if your child is going to a public school and needs that extra support. But when it comes to the school districts in general and insurance companies, it's difficult and it's hard, and they don't always play super nice with private care because they're very
more siloed.
Yeah. And so we're trying to break that barrier with these people and show them, like, I mean, Nick has been an amazing advocate for showing, like, do you understand what a child with disabilities is going through? And how can we help this kid in the best way possible? Because I hate to say it, but like life sometimes feels very money driven. And Nick has taken the approach of, rather than being money driven, let's be child focused. What can we do to help this child in the best way possible?
How it is. And that's exactly what I would want from my children. I'm sure that every parent out there wants that. And if we can get more people interacting from that standpoint, it'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be better in our community.
Yeah, I mean, and the best way to help is to just like make your voice heard with your school districts, with your insurance companies for sure. Visit our website, thevillagebehindthemask.org. Sign up to be like a sponsor of kids that maybe need help or anything like that. Like, get involved in these communities. You'll not only feel better about yourself, but you'll actually be making a huge difference with these
and even
kids.
Share this podcast.
Yeah.
Share all of the Therapy Unmasked podcast. and anything else that we've got so that people can start being more aware.
And come to the fair on September 12th from 12 to 4 p.m. here at Ability Innovations in Layton. That's going to be an awesome way to it's a free way to show kids that you support them, that you love them, and that you're willing to watch them as they share their talents and their experiences.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, that's all we've got for today. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Therapy Unmasked, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.